Well, now, you know what? Whether you like it or you don't like it, the fact remains, never get kids before you get the cash. That's a reality. And by the way, if you don't believe it, this is one of the largest contributors of the poverty in Africa. Well, of course, with very many other things. And obviously, we must have an individual who comes here and speaks the truth the way it is. Let's do this. Let's hold the bull by its horn. Let's speak the way it is, okay? Because I've seen a certain trend in Africa whereby you find, people are getting married on the basis of them being old. If you come from Africa, you understand what exactly I'm telling you. See, if you hit a certain age, they're like, yo, you're getting old, you should get kids, you should get a family. They disregard the fact that, hey, have you put your finances in order? Are you in a position to actually cater not only for your own stomach, but also the expenses of kids and the wives and such kind of a thing? I mean, seriously, let's get serious. Because yeah, I know what you're about to say. Hey, you know what? God provides, and you have to make sure just get kids. Then God, I do not disregard the fact that God provides. It's true, God provides, but never forget one thing. I know you are riding, when you argue that way, you are riding on the foot or you are riding on the wheels of hope and faith. And there is nothing wrong with hope and faith, but never forget this. That idea that you're borrowing from the Bible, the same Bible says that faith without action is what? It's death. Absolutely. You ought to accompany that with actions, and that's how you progress and transform and change your life. I've seen a lot of people who are struggling. Can you imagine this? You are brought up in a very harsh environment whereby you are, I mean, seriously, those who are watching my videos, obviously, they know most of them, they were never brought up in an environment where they had everything that they wanted. For example, honestly, let me just pick my example. I never grew up in bouncing castle. I've never bounced on that thing. I don't even know what's a trampoline. I mean, like, I never enjoyed myself in that kind of a thing. I never enjoyed those funny and good rides and what. I wasn't brought up in such an environment. I didn't even enjoy that. Can you imagine this? If I just get into thing and you start getting kids anyhowly, then what would be the difference between you and the parents? And I know right now, especially if you're millennials, you're saying, hey, I can't bring up my kids the way I was brought up. That's a fact. Then that means there is a financial aspect of that. You have really need to take care of them in terms of, well, you may not be able to provide like everything on earth, but you have to put your house in order. Guess what? That's the topic of the today. But before we do that, never forget this. I do upload a video each and every day. And if you don't want to miss of my good news, do this. Just next to my subscribers on the right, there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button, like this video. That's like telling me, thank you, Joseph, for doing this specific video. And this is my disclaimer. I love kids. Kids are amazing. I appreciate and I do encourage people having them. But have them with an order. Have them with a plan. Have them with an understanding that they come with their responsibilities. Let me tell you one secret about life, okay? Now, when you're young, obviously talk of let's talk from 18 years, from 18 years, that's when even all the societies in terms of the government regard you as an adult. So when you're 18 years all the way to talk of 21, 20, let's talk of below 25, let's say 24 years, okay? At this particular age, obviously, well, much is not expected from you in terms of maybe you're clearing your university, you're clearing your education, you're just getting by in terms of employment and all those kind of things. And then there is a certain age that you hit, especially if you're a lady, if you hit 25, 26, 27, around that area, people now start questioning you. And these people are the society. Society start questioning you. Hey, you're supposed to get, kids as early as you can. And then they tell you, hey, let's say maybe you adhere to whatever they're saying, and then you get married, and then you get the first kid. They tell you, hey, you know what? Hey, come on, don't get one kid, get as many as you can. It's good when you get them as early as you can. You bring them up, you buy the same idea. Remember one thing, they say you are earning. For example, the reason why you guys are making this video is because I do receive some calls and texts. Somebody tells me, hey, Joseph, I'm so and so, I have a wife and I have kids. My salary is 15,000 at the end of the month. 15,000 at the end of the month. I live in Nairobi. Now, tell me, seriously, let's be sincere. 15,000 at the end of the month, this is the amount of money that you're getting, and you have a kid and you have sometimes you even have kids and you have a wife. Honestly speaking, well, you may live, I agree, but again, at the end of the day, you actually gonna struggle a little bit in life as far as this money is concerned. Why? Because as you grow old, more responsibilities comes in, more responsibilities. As you grow old, you tend to have more responsibilities. Obviously, on the sense that now you had become an adult, you ought not to live from your home and you go rent by yourself, or maybe build if you have the capacity. After that, you bring a wife on board. Now there's an added responsibility on top of that. And then on the process, because you are young and you're energetic, you bring forth a kid, which is a blessing, amazing, and I love it. And then after that, it means more responsibilities. After that, then you find yourself in a situation whereby now you need to take them to school. After that, you need to educate. I mean, seriously, as you grow old, you tend to realize, like, wow, it becomes more harder and harder, especially if you're actually earning a small amount of money for you to survive out there. See, let's just learn to talk the truth. Let's not bury our heads into the sand and be like, hey, you know what? You see, Africans, they have this mentality of let me just do the thing because this is what the society does largely, and then somehow just, ahead there, things gonna fall into place and everything gonna be okay. You see, when you approach life that way, you approach life in an innocent way. Number two, you approach life in a freestyle way, and then it means a time comes whereby, you see, in life we usually have some sort of different lifestyles in terms of characters. We have that face, we call it the donkey face. You know that donkey face, yeah? Donkey face. See, that donkey phase, this is where you really need to work hard, or you really work hard. You move from one place to the other. You really hustle. You do the best that you can to make sure that you provide for the families and all those kind of a thing. And then after the donkey phase, this is especially when we talk of from age of when we start get earning, let's say from 21 years all the way to 45 years. 40, let's talk of 40 years. 40 years. This is when we say you are at the donkey phase, when you're really working as hard as you can. The moment you hit 40 years, then you realize, damn, guess what? Maybe I had the dreams of becoming a pilot. It's now obvious you can become, and all those. Some of the things becomes, they tick themselves and be like, well, this can't happen once again, okay? Now, you go to the next phase. The next phase we call the monkey phase, the monkey phase. The monkey phase now is now when you talk of 45 years all the way talk of to 60 years, okay? Now, the monkey phase, this is when you do the things that provides the day-to-day, the daily bread and all those kind of things. If you realize, hey, there is a gig that you can do and that will feed your family and whatever, you go to that thing. Then you realize that there is a gig that can actually do this and you go to that thing. You really don't have those over ambitious dreams. You just be like, you accept. And this is time we find most of the people become in acceptance with the reality. Guess what? Well, I never went to school, but I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure that my kids actually got what I never got it. That's a reality. You might get some guys arguing that way, especially when you're at this particular age. You'd never become over ambitious. And when you see people are really dreaming about their lives, they want to do this, they want to do this. Sometimes you can talk to them. Sometimes you decide not to talk to them because you'll be like, well, I had all those dreams, but here I am. I never did anything. At that particular point, monkey face, you do that what benefits you. That's a reality. You really don't want to try a lot of things here and there because time is not on your side. Probably you're thinking about your retirement, what you're gonna eat, and all those kind of things. And then you're like, wow. Especially when you see, like, largely your kids are not in good place and shape, you kind of get stressed because, hey, these are the guys whom you're supposed to depend upon. This is the way Africans view their life. Then this is not showing up well, so you have to jump from one place to the other at this particular point. And then we have the last phase. The last phase, this is what we call the dog phase. The dog phase, obviously, just from the term dog, with all the due respect to dogs, amazing animals, again, you find that this particular phase, now this is when you wait to be given. You look upon whoever is there for you. You can't work, you can't do nothing. You have to wag your tail somewhere, meaning wagging your tail in the context of this. You really need to, be good, be a very good, nice grandma, grandpa, play with the grandkids and all those kind of things. Because at this particular point, you are under the mercies of people. You ought to be supported. You ought to be helped and all those kind of things. So you really need to understand, okay, at this particular point, well, I am not that productive. Even if I have all those experience, I cannot be able to be employed, even though the companies consider you retired, you are not productive and all those kind of things. So if you did invest when you're young, obviously, then you're gonna eat what you did. All right. So how you survive is no longer on what you do, is actually dependent on what you did. That's the difference. So anyway, the point is this. I'm not digressing. I'm saying don't get your kids before you actually get your cash in order. And when I say get the cash in order, I don't necessarily mean that you have to accumulate a lot of money for you to get married, because there's someone who is taking this message literally. If you do so, then you're off the board. So when I'm saying get your cash in order, I simply mean, like, are you financially literate? Are you driven by the factor that, hey, guess what? See, kids is an emotional part of life. It's a social part of life. But it comes with hooks attached as far as the finances are concerned. I repeat my point. Kids is a what? Is a social part of life. You see, you having kids is a continuation of your generation, which is an amazing thing, which is a thing that I do love myself and I support it fully. But at the same time, it is good to appreciate the fact that you also need to have the financial aspect part of it. It's like showing up in a hospital. Yeah, it's a financial, or rather it's a what? It's a health industry. But obviously, they survive on vitamin M. That is money. For example, if today you set up a hospital, I mean, seriously, you can't treat people for free. As much as you love when people are healthy, the fact remains that that is done under cost. That's a fact. So it is also good to appreciate the fact that kids are great, kids are good, but am I financially literate? Can I be able to save myself? Am I mean, is my house in order? All those kind of things. Those are the questions that you really need to ask yourself. What plan do I have? Let's say for today, bring a kid on board. Like, okay, fine. I'm going to open a money market fund, dedicated fully for the kid. Then be like, okay, the school fees will be coming from there, the clothing, the need, all the everything as far as the support are concerned will come from that space. Do you guys have that plan? Or when you fall in love and you find a very nice and an amazing lady, you'll be like, damn, that is what I was looking for. As far as my heart is happy, and by the way, you might find that individual arguing from the comment section. As far as my heart is happy, then I'm good to go. You see, you marry on the basis of you being happy. You marry on you see, when you marry on a selfish point of view, it's about me. And I've seen a lot of people getting into marriages and all those kind of on the selfish point of view. I just want to have my continuation of generation. I just want to be happy. I love this guy. You disregard the fact that you're bringing a human being on board. Hey, and what kind of a lifestyle are you gonna give this guy? Because I've met some guys who are scared about getting married. Yeah, they're scared on the sense that, hey, guess what? I do not think that my house in order as far as the finances are concerned. And I think I need to, get organized so that by the time I'm showing up on board, then I'll be able not only to cater for myself, but also for the kids. And as I've seen another trend, you find like, it's like when you hit 30 years or when you hit that 5 years, you kind of sacrifice the rest of your life. Let's say you're going to die at 100, you sacrifice the rest of 65 years. And how do you do that? The moment you realize you're not really in good shape in terms of the finances, you sacrifice you. And remember one thing, you are a kid of somebody. You sacrifice you for the sake of other kids. Yeah, I'm not denying the fact that people shouldn't sacrifice, should do so. But at the same time, as much as you want to sacrifice for the kids, also your life matters. So it is good when you understand the conclusion of all those three things so that at least you may do the appropriate decision. Because sometimes I get approached by a very young individual at 21. They're telling me, you know what, Joseph, I just want to get married, and I have a lady who is at 19, I have a lady who is at 20, we want to get married and all those kind of things. And when you listen to that person, you feel like they're so ambitious, they are visionaries, they have all those kind of things. And then when you start hitting them with the real questions, like, how is your finances? Are your finances in order? Like, how much do you make per month? Like, how do you organize that finances? What do you usually direct towards investment? Are you conversant with investments? Like, are you conversant, like, how much it will take you to cater for kids? Like, are you aware that if you dare get a kid now, that kid will be with you like the rest of your life? You see, you test not only the emotional intelligence, but also the financial intelligence and all those kind. And honestly speaking, at the end of the day, the results come out that this guy does not qualify to bring a family on board. But they still insist. And the hardest thing that you can ever do in life is to advise somebody, especially on the matters to do with but to do with what do we call it, the love and relationships and all those kind of things. But anyway, it depends. You choose. If you want to learn by somebody, if you want to learn by you being taught by somebody, maybe somebody who has ever gone through that thing, or if you just want to disregard whatever you're going to be told and again go learn it by yourself, it's all by your choice what you're going to do. But the fact remains, I would say this, hey, this is my, like, sort of my parting shot. Make sure that at least before you get kids, at least put your house in order. I understand we in Africa actually get run our things by faith and also by hope. There is nothing wrong with doing that, okay? But at the same time, it's also good to be realistic. It's good to be real. You cannot tell me that you earn 20,000 at the end of the month and then you squander. I ask you, how much do you save? I am really struggling to save even 2,000 at the end of the month out of my salary, and then you're thinking about getting married. Can you imagine this? You're living by yourself, then you want to bring somebody else, and then you're banking on the basis of, hey, they're going to help me save. So now, when you start arguing that way, honestly, I would say, I'm going to open that book and say, you're arguing from an ignorant point of view. Well, I don't understand that this topic might be a little bit harsh, might be a little bit like sort of a controversial or whatever, but the fact remains, that's a reality. Put your house in order. And when I say put your house in order, I don't mean like accumulate millions before you get married. No, accumulate the financial literacy understandings, the investments, all those kind of things. Don't only bank on the love or relation or an emotional point of view. Bank on the understanding, bank on the logic. And then after, when you do that, then you're getting somebody on board. That would be the wisest thing that you can ever do. But as of now, if you feel like you are still in place, go ahead and do so. But be very careful, because you can be a little bit paranoid at the same time. You might get worried a lot to a point whereby you never even take any action. You see, everything has to be done in moderate. Everything has to be in a situation whereby you can be able to find like it's a very delicate balance that you must have in life, so that at least you can be able to do something at the end of the day. But when it comes to be successful, there is nothing like balancing the work and whatever. You just have to work like crazy until you get your house in order. Then after that, you can be able to do something in life. That's it. Anyway, guys, for now, it's a goodbye. But never forget, pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video if you want to have a conversation with me. But never forget as well to like the video and comment down below if you find value in this video. And hey, you know what? For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one.